Hello, my name is David Moore. I'm the town administrator for the town of Stratham, and I'm here on behalf of our select board, Mike Houghton, our chair, vice chair Allison Nab, and Joe Anderson. Going to present the articles for the business session on Saturday, March 16th. I want to thank the Wigan Memorial Library for inviting us to make this presentation, and I look forward to seeing you at the voter information night on March 7th. Here is a summary of what to expect once again for another town meeting in Stratham. The town meeting in Stratham is held in two parts, two sessions. We have a town election, which is held on Tuesday, March 12th, located at the Memorial School. This is where we elect our elected officials, and we also vote on zoning articles. Mark Connors, Director of Planning and Community Development, has another video where he will be highlighting articles 2 through 10. I'm going to concentrate on the articles that will be voted on at the business session, the in-person meeting at the Stratham Memorial School on March 16th at 9 a.m. The articles this year include articles 11 through 15. These are the articles associated with our budget, capital reserve appropriation, and other articles. We also have one petition article this year. We make a lot of effort to make the materials for town meeting accessible to the public. They're available on our website. You click on the town meeting tab off of our main page, and that'll bring you to a list of documents that we believe you'll find useful in getting to know the issues, the warrant articles, the process we've followed, and all of the details associated with the town's budget, capital plan, and other initiatives. Once again, this year, we're doing a voter information guide, which is a very accessible narrative document to walk you through what each article is, including the zoning articles as well as the business session articles. We've got a detailed executive summary and line item for our budget with all of the analysis about the budget as well on this page. You can also find this video on this page as well as Mark's video related to the zoning articles. Here's just a summary of those warrant articles that will be handled on Saturday the 16th and what I'm going to review today. The first one is our operating budget, Article 11. This year's budget is $8.4 million. It's about a 3.3% increase or increase of $270,000 year over year. A little bit about our process. We have been working at this budget since October. There's a lot of work that is represented here by department heads, as well as our select board. As you can see, we work with preliminary budget information in October and November, and in January, we bring together the moderator appointed budget advisory committee, seen working here with our select board on the right side of the screen. That input is taken to a public hearing on February 5th. And after that, the select board finalizes a proposed budget, prepares the warrant, and we prepare our materials, including preparing for voter information night. And all of those materials I reviewed in the previous screen. We always like to remind people about the context about which we speak when we are discussing the town's warrant articles. In the town of Stratham, your property tax bill covers 4 areas: the town, the county services, local education, as well as state education. What the town articles are all about is this portion of your tax bill. 15 cents of every dollar you pay in property taxes is to the town of Stratham and the services and expenditures I'm going to be talking about in this presentation. 15% of that $3.15 the 2023 tax rate go to the town. And what are the services that are covered as part of that portion of your bill? It includes your library. It includes all of the public works functions, the snow clearing, the curbside trash and recycling pickup, our transfer station, the parks and playgrounds maintenance, Stratham Hill Park, the parks and recreation program, and the adult services, our police department, our volunteer fire department, all of the town general government services, and our capital projects and rolling stock. For a home valued at $600,000, that's an annual tax of $1,890, or about $158 a month. And we collect this money through taxation, through the budget development process, and which is informed by the values and priorities we have as a town. So what are some of the things that we are achieving and seeing happen in our town as a result of the work that goes on throughout the year by our volunteer elected officials, civic volunteers, and our town employees? Well, here are a few highlights. Most especially in 2023 this year, we saw the adoption of the Community Power Program in Stratham. You see a picture there of the over 145 people who attended our town meeting in October, a special town meeting. That was a unanimous vote, and the result of a lot of work by some truly dedicated volunteers that as a result of that work, beginning in March, residents are going to see a meaningful decrease in their supply costs for energy, and then and ongoing throughout the year. A really great initiative and achievement for the town in 2023. I've also listed down here some business improvement efforts here in the town government related to our information technology and our assessing contractor. These changes represent some significant steps forward in protecting the town and its information in the IT realm, as well as the customer service. And our new assessing contractor presents many increased value opportunities for the town in an important function, especially this year being a reval year for the town. We perhaps don't mention enough the success the town employees see and the volunteers help make happen through bringing in outside funds in the form of grants and donations to the town to cause these tax dollars to go further and advance priorities of the town and special initiatives. I have a list of them here. I won't read them all, but these funds don't appear by virtue of some formula that we just sit back and receive. They come through initiating the grant search, writing grants, having compelling stories to tell in order to be successful in receiving them, and then carrying them out. And we've done a great job of that in Stratham here this year and in other years. Finally, just want to remind folks about this time last year, we had over 280 Stratham households show up for a free water testing program that was offered for Stratham residents, organized by our staff in coordination with the state of New Hampshire, that really provided a tremendous amount of information about water quality for our residential households for them. And was a very successful event, extraordinarily well received. Can't say enough about volunteerism in Stratham and the fact that this town government is run in no small part by civic volunteers and volunteer elected officials. Once again, through our volunteer fire department, many tangible, wonderful achievements from our boards and commissions, with the Heritage Commission completing a town-wide inventory of historic resources, our Energy Commission with that successful community power effort, the conservation of parcels by our Conservation Commission, and many, many other accomplishments and contributions to the civic life here in Stratham. Challenges that are reflected in this budget and that we are dealing with as a town. It is the same as you might expect for many an employer in our region, in our state, in our country, and that is managing the complexities and the changes in the labor market. We have needed to make some adjustments on our end in order to attract talent and retain current staff. And this budget reflects our efforts to do that while maintaining a conservative approach to budgeting and a consistent approach to budgeting. We've had several staff transitions in the departments listed you see there. That presents challenges associated with maintaining a high level of service to residents. It requires more of our employees who need to pick up slack, and that is being done, and we're very proud of the teams that are making these transitions manageable, and very pleased to share that we have great success in these areas in planning, community development, and public works in particular, and we're still working on vacancies in finance and the police department. Here's a summary of the budget drivers for this year. We have about a 3.3% increase, as I shared earlier. And what's driving that? Well, largely the challenge raised in the previous slide related to employing people. And in local government, services are provided by employees, and our budget, 57%, is made up of payroll and benefits costs. So we've made some adjustments, including an across-the-board adjustment of 3% for salaries and wages, market adjustments for certain positions in order to ensure that we're able to attract folks. We've offered a specialized duty incentive in our police department, adjusted the call out rate for the fire departments, and added some hours in our finance office in order to support that function. We've had some other modest increases in contracted services, and this year we saw a 15% increase in our health insurance premiums that had an impact on this budget. Here's a snapshot of the different functions and what makes up the $8.4 million budget. You can see a good portion going to public safety. Those personnel costs covered up there at 17%. Sanitation, a full 12% of that $8 million budget. And you can see the other categories there as well. This slide shows the breakdown of our payroll and benefit costs versus the other operating costs. As I mentioned, 57% of that $8.4 million goes for payroll and benefit costs. Through a lot of effort and intention, our select board has been able to deliver consistent, manageable increases over time on the overall operating budget. Here you can see that the average growth of this time period shown from 2015 to 24 is about 2.74%. The change from 23 to 24 is at 3.3%, and you can see the detailed increases here in this box for the year shown as well. Tax rate history. Tax rate, of course, is a reflection of the amount the community chooses to spend, the revenues that are taken in, and the amount of value in the land and buildings in the town. We've been very fortunate in this period of 2019 to 2023 to see a very stable tax rate. And in 2024, we're projecting a 0 decrease in the tax rate year over year. Now, a word about that projection. This is here for illustrative purposes only. In 2024, we will see a town-wide revaluation in property that will significantly change our base valuation that will impact the tax rate. We expect that the rate will actually be lower, but we want to show a history here by doing apples to apples using our base valuation from last year. And here's a little bit more detail about how we arrive at that tax rate. We start with Article 11 and the monies we're asking for through the operating budget. We add Article 12 and 13, which I'll speak about next, related to our capital improvements and capital reserve funds, for a total amount of appropriations minus our anticipated revenues, fund balance that we use consistently from year to year, a net appropriation and adjusted by other credits. We get to a $5.1 million municipal tax effort required to be derived through taxation. We get to that $3.15 rate. That $5.1 million of what we will need to raise, we project through taxation, is a 1.4% increase over last year. So as you can see, very stable from year to year in the amount that we actually need to raise from taxes after you factor in revenues and new value in the community. Moving on now to Article 12, the Capital Improvements Program. A slight increase from last year in this program. You will recall, people who have viewed this presentation or seen our materials before, these two spreadsheets that list the projects on the left-hand side, the amount of money that we have indicate we committed last year, new money we're requesting in yellow here for this article, projected funds going forward, and the balances. This is article covers equipment and vehicles, buildings, other infrastructure, the park, transportation and roadways, and environmental and planning projects. Here are some highlights about from that chart. So for equipment and vehicles, we are moving forward with some significant townwide technology improvements. This is in the areas of server replacements, switches, and other IT infrastructure investments to improve our security for information. We also are moving forward with ballot machine replacements in 2024. This is an initiative of the state of New Hampshire. Our optical scanning machines are date from the 1990s and are in need of replacement. The state of New Hampshire, which governs the selection of that equipment, is making new options available for communities, and we expect that we will need to spend some $14,000 in 2024 for that effort. For shared vehicle replacement, we've started a new program here at the town where we are relying on hand-me-down police vehicles in order to have vehicles for our building inspector and building custodians. And so we are no longer seeking funds to plan for replacements of separate vehicles. We're going to be using hand-me-downs through the police department. This year, we have got a decrease in the cruiser replacement costs because we were of how we were able to manage our acquisition of vehicles this year. We actually bought 2 cruisers this year because there was a price advantage to doing so. That as a result, we're going to take 2024 off. and only raise half the funds needed next year for that purpose. We have obligations associated with managing our PFAS site in town center. We are relying on some contracted services to assist us with our stormwater planning and compliance, which is a very significant output of the town on a year-to-year basis. And this year, we're also funding and moving forward with our property revaluation. Other highlights, we have funds in this CIP for the library website, HVAC improvements to the municipal center and the police department, and the beginning of funding for our Stevens Park multi-use recreation facility improvements. We had our initial meeting about scoping out improvements for that facility this winter, and we'll be talking more about that in the year to come with the community. Article 13 is the article we use to make contributions to our capital reserve funds. This year, we are not recommending funding for the Heritage Preservation Fund, since that fund has achieved its goal of $250,000 balance for their projects and initiatives and strategic priorities. We are recommending funding for $125,000 each into the Fire Department Capital Reserve and the Highway Department Capital Reserve. These contributions each year have been quite consistent at $125,000 and has allowed the town to move forward with replacements of rolling stock in those two departments on a schedule that is driven by the useful life of our equipment. And it's worked very well, allowing us to make consistent investments in this fund, even if our expenditures from year to year are less or more. Here's a little bit more detail on where we are with the capital reserve fund for the fire department. We have a current balance there of $57,000. That might sound low to you based on the balance you might have been monitoring in recent years past. That's because we have moved funds for the purchase of a fire engine that will be delivered in 2025. We have no planned purchases for equipment in 2024, and you can see the next purchases there come from the forestry squad vehicle and another engine in 2028. So we'll be building up our reserves in accordance with those needs through this fund. We have a capital reserve fund for public works. We currently have a balance there of $386,000. We purchased a vehicle in 2023, and in 2024, we're going to be moving forward with the replacement of a medium duty truck. In 2025, a larger piece of equipment is set to be replaced, and further expenditures in 2026 and beyond. We do have some new leadership at Public Works, and this year we plan on doing a relook of this capital reserve fund strategy and schedule of expenditures, and as we do every year, make adjustments to it to keep it current and fresh. The last article sponsored by the Select Board for this town meeting is the regular special revenue fund article for the emergency medical services. This is a special revenue fund that by law we are required to spend following an appropriation by the town meeting. As a result, we have three categories of expenditure this year that is recommended by the Select Board. $16,500 for EMS supplies, $10,000 for first responder training, and $10,000 associated with the expenditures for our advanced life services contract in the fire department. New this year is this EMS supplies line item. We previously had funded this through the general fund and the operating budget. This year, in order to avoid raising these $16,500 from general taxation, we moved it into the special revenue fund really where they belong because those are costs directly associated with operating the ambulance, and we're seeking to recuperate them through user fees to give the general fund a bit of a break when it comes to that expense. That is the totality of the articles recommended by the select board for this town meeting. We hope to see you there both at the election as well as the business session, and also at voter information night. Thank you very much for your attention, and we look forward to seeing you at town meeting.